I'm going to call this meeting to order and invite our tech upstairs to play our national anthem and our land acknowledgement for us tonight.
The land upon which we work, live, and sustain ourselves is the ancestral and treaty lands of the Michizagig Anishinaabe, also known today as the Mississaugas of the Credit, the rightful caretakers and title holders of this land. We also recognize the rich pre-contact history and relationships which include the Anishinaabe and the Ongwe-Hongwe.
Since European contact, this land continues to be home to indigenous and non-indigenous peoples. As responsible community members, we value the diversity, dignity, and worth of all people.
Colonialism displaced and dispossessed indigenous peoples of their ancestral land
and continues to deny their basic human rights, dignities, and freedoms.
We are committed to learning true history to reconcile, make reparations, and fulfill our treaty obligations to the original peoples and our collective responsibilities to the lands, water, animals, and each other for future generations.
Okay. Thank you to my colleagues and senior staff, our director, and community that is online. I just want to welcome you to our first meeting of 2024. And it's a privilege for us to be back here, and we are looking for a great year to work alongside you. With that said, I'm going to ask for approval of the agenda. I got no addition to the agenda. The agenda is as is. So I'm going to turn to Trustee Promale and Trustee Davey. All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. Do we have any conflict of interest tonight? Looking around the room and not seeing any. So I'm going to move right down to item 6.1. And that's our celebrating our board activities. And we have our Black History Month, which is month of February. We have Safe International Day, February 6th. Winter Walk to School Day, February 7th. National Flag Day, February 15th. Family Day, February 19th. World Day of Social Justice, and February 20th. And I know over this today is the last day of January. We begin February tomorrow, and it's going to be a very active month for our board, celebrating many activities. Some great stuff are happening. So if as trustees, we're out and about, make sure we're stopping in and see what the school are doing, because they're going to be highlighting some great things. I look forward to those. Can I have Trustee Av and Trustee Bailey put this on the floor for me? All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. And I'm going to move down to 7.1, which is our staff recognition. And I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chair Chahal at this time.
Thank you, Chair Green. And through you, we would like to thank all the retirees for their service and dedication to the Peel District School Board. It is through the collective hard work and efforts of our staff that makes a positive difference in the lives of our students, their families, and the community. Your commitment to help each student achieve to the best of their ability is appreciated. Names and titles of the retiring staff members are displayed on the screen here. We are reporting a total of 23 retirements tonight, and that includes 1 principal, 12 classroom teachers, 1 team lead HRMS, 1 school attendant, 1 food service assistant, 2 educational assistants, 1 electrician, 2 psychoeducational consultant. I'm sorry, it's 1 psychoeducational consultant, 1 office manager, 2 office assistants. We wish you the very best for a healthy and happy retirement. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna turn trustee B. McDonald and trustee K. McDonald line. Will you put those on the floor for me? All those in favor? Carries, thank you. Can I move down to item 8, which is chair announcement. I do not have any announcements today. And 9, which is the director's report. She doesn't have one today either. And I'm going to move right down to item 10. And one of our student trustee has a great report of some awesome stuff that she has done in her community. So I'll turn it over to you at this time, Chair.
Thank you, Chair Green, and through you, I would like to present this report. Good evening, everyone. I hope this message finds you well. My name is Srishti Sekri. As a student trustee representing the students of the Peel District School Board, I'm excited to share a brief overview of my recent activities and engagements. In October 2023, I had the opportunity to attend a professional development conference hosted by the Ontario Student Trustee Association, also commonly referred to as OSTA-ACO. During this event, I had valuable conversations with prominent figures in education, including the Minister of Education, Mr. Stephen Lecce, and the President of the Ontario Public School Boards Association, also known as OBSPA, Ms. Kathy Abraham. These interactions provided me with valuable insights into current educational policies and initiatives, providing me with an understanding of the challenges and opportunities within our education system. Following this, I joined the OSTA-ACO Curriculum and School Community Advocacy Interest Group. In this capacity, I actively contribute to discussions aimed at enhancing the educational experience for students. Next slide, please. Recognizing the importance of fostering a culture of consent within our schools, I joined the Consent Culture Committee. Through regular meetings and collaborative efforts, we are working to improve the current understanding of consent culture, ensuring a safe and inclusive environment for all students. Next slide, please. In December 2023, I organized a food drive involving the 9 schools of the Lincoln M. Alexander family of schools. Under the banner of Malton PDSB Schools Food Drive, Brandon Gate Public School, Corliss Public School, Darso Avenues Public School, Den Rankin Public School, Lancaster Public School, Lincoln M. Alexander Secondary School, Marvin Heights Public School, Morningstar Public School, and Ridgewood Public School became one unified team. Collaborating with administrative teams, supportive staff, and enthusiastic students, we collected a substantial amount of food items. I coordinated the pickup and drop-off logistics, and alongside my awesome mentor trustee, Ms. Benjamin, we visited each school to recognize, encourage, and appreciate the efforts of students and staff. Tokens of appreciation were also distributed to those students who contributed. There are a few photographs that I wanted to share from each of the schools. Here is Brandon Gate Public School. This is Corliss Public School. Here is Darcel Avenue Public School. Here is Den Rankin Public School. This is Lancaster Public School. This is my school, Lincoln M. Alexander Secondary School. This is Marvin Heights Public School. Here's Morningstar Public School and Ridgewood Public School. I would like to take a moment to express my heartfelt appreciation to the incredible teams that made the Malton PDSP Schools food drive an overwhelming success. The images not only captured the collected food items, but also the spirit of collaboration and generosity that has made a significant impact on the lives of those in need. From the dedicated school administrators, the supporting teaching staff, and the awesome students, to all those who played a vital role in executing this initiative, your collective efforts have been truly inspiring, and I'm immensely grateful for the opportunity to work alongside such a compassionate and dedicated team. Next slide, please. The collected food items were donated to various local organizations, including Save a Food Bank, Saidham Food Bank, and Humanity First Food Bank, contributing to the well-being of the local community. Looking ahead, I am enthusiastic about the opportunities to derive positive change in education. I'm optimistic about the opportunities within and outside of the Peel District School Board that have the potential to facilitate positive change in education. I am dedicated to representing the student voices and contributing to the continuous improvement of our education system. Thank you all for your time and attention, and I look forward to your continued support, and I am excited for the impactful months ahead.
Thank you for that amazing report. I just want you to know that this board appreciate the work that you're doing in the community and the leadership that you're showing in the community. I was not at, especially the food drive that you did, but from principal at one of the school, I heard great things. So want to encourage you to keep up the good work. You're doing amazing stuff. Thank you for that. Can I ask Trustee Benjamin to put the report on the floor? Trustee Bailey? Seconded. All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move down to trustee appointed to external organization, and Trustee Benjamin, you get a report.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. This report is about an event which just happened today. I'm a member of the PSARTS. I'm still to figure out what it stands for. But I was invited by the City of Mississauga's School Traffic Safety Action Committee for an awards event at the city center before the all the councillors were present there. So I'll just read the report. As a trustee for Ward 5 Mississauga, I'm happy to report that the Mississauga School Traffic Safety Action Committee recommended 2 schools of the Peel District School Board in Ward 5, Mississauga Malton, to be recognized and awarded the Wildwood School Zone Safety Award for 2023. Darsal Avenue Senior Public School and Nahani Way Public School are the 2 schools that received a certificate and a check of $500 from Ward 5 Councillor Carolyn Parrish. The presentation was made this morning, that is 31st January at 9:30 a.m. at the Mississauga Council Chambers. This was the first item on the agenda at the council meeting. The schools were represented by their principals and students, and they were all very happy, and I've asked them to send it to Peel News so that it'll come on our board website. And just to add to what our student trustee has just mentioned, I would like to acknowledge that our student trustee is a fabulous leader. And one of the things that impressed me most when I went around with her collecting the food was the amount of confidence that the principals had in her. Srishti is a student of Malton. Some of her teachers were happy to meet her because they'd seen her as a kindergarten student. She showed me some of the pictures on the wall of her as a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old, and it was great. It was a great experience. Thank you, Srishti, for allowing me to be your mentor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Benjamin. I'm going to turn to Trustee Clark. Put that on the floor. Trustee Obb, seconded. All those in favor of the report, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Just going to briefly highlight 2 things for you. Over the weekend, starting, well, I was down there from Wednesday. Both the Ontario School Board Association and Code had, I would say, joint conferences running simultaneously. And the director and some of her leadership team was at Code, while myself, Trustee Bailey, Trustee Johal, Trustee Promonelli, and Trustee Benjamin attended the Ontario School Board Association, and Trustee K. McDonald's, attended the Ontario School Board Association. And it was, to me, one of the best PES that I've been to in the longest time. There was a lot of training for trustees, and I tell you, we brought back stuff to our board that we can use, and I already shared some information with our director, and she is delighted to know that the session that was presented, and that we can use some stuff that we heard and learned down there. Part of that training also, the Minister of Education paid for a special session so where chair and vice chair of boards can attend and learn about their role, responsibility, and duty. And a part of that training was teaching chairs and vice chair how to carry out their duty and responsibility as chair and vice chair of boards, and how that ties into the human rights code, especially section 169, and how we go about doing our job. And that we need to, one of the things that was really highlighted in that human rights section is that we as a board, not just this board, but as a board, a governance board, school board, we have a duty to ensure that all students are given access to fully participate, because if we're not doing that, then we're discriminating. And that hit me. That hit home for me. So seeing some of the stuff that the director and the senior staff is doing right now is telling me that we're out front and we're doing as the Human Rights Code are calling on us to do as board. So I just wanted to highlight that. And secondly, just wanted to know many trustees was not there last night, but Trustee K. McDonald and Trustee Cameron was able to attend the first ever, can I say ever in Canada, a LEAP graduation program. It's a partnership with Peel District School Board and the Algoma University. And we had 44 amazing students graduated from that program last night. Those students received 2 university credits to go towards their university degree that they can use as they enter university. 22 of those students are grade 12, the rest are grade 11. Those 22 was offered a $6,000 scholarship for what? Each year?
The first 2 years for attending Algoma.
For
16 of them.
Okay, and 16 already signed up to go to Algoma so they can tap into that bursary. It was an amazing night. Many of the senior staff was there, and it was an exciting time for our board. And these are the stuff that as chair, I encourage my colleagues and senior staff, let us celebrate these things. Our board are out front. We're moving forward. We're taking charge, and we are preparing the next generation of leaders. And today, the director and I also had the privilege of participate in the Google certification course that 200 students here in Peel and 25 staff member is been certified over the next few months, getting those Google certificates. That's going to help them in their future, because when we heard the statistics about, data analytics, they are learning about. And when we heard the number of people that is desperately needed in those fields and how much it is paying just for a starting position, it's amazed me. So I just want to say, on behalf of this board, we want to thank director, thank the team of Superintendent Leone, and all the folks that are involved in that for the great things that they're doing to making sure that we're preparing our student to be the next generation of leader. So thank you very much. And that's my report. And I'm going to ask Trustee Permanently and Trustee Brad McDonald to put that on the floor for me. All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. I'm going to move down to 12, which is our consent agenda item and approval of minutes from our previous board meetings. And 13.1 is the minutes from our December 13 board meeting. They're here. I'm going to ask Trustee Bailey and Trustee K. McDonald online to put them on the floor. Any question, concern?
I will.
I'm seeing none. All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. I'm going to move to the Curriculum Equity Student Wellbeing meeting of December the 5th. They're here. Who's done that? Trustee Pomoli and Trustee Benjamin. Put those on the floor for me. Question, concerns? Okay. Oh, Trustee Benjamin wasn't there. Who was there? Trustee Av. Okay. All right. All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. And then we're going to go down to 14.3, which is I'm going to take the minutes first. We do have motion coming out of that. Our Physical and Financial Building Committee meeting of this January the 10th. They're here. The minutes are here. And who's on that one? Trustee Bailey and Trustee Davey. Okay. Put them on the floor for me. Question or concerns? I'm seeing none. All those in favor? Out of that meeting, there was a motion, and I will read the motion for you. And this is boundary realignment and the Ray Lawson Public School grade reorganization. Ray Lawson Public School and Roberta Bandar Public School boundary chain. That effective July 2024, the grade reorganization of Ray Lawson Public School from a K-6 school to a K-8 school, and be it approved. And that effective July 2024, the following boundary change between Ray Lawson Public School and Roberta Bandar Public School be approved. And I'm not going to read all of it. You got this in your mail, and as written, everything that is as written there. This is Trustee K. McDonald area, so I'm going to ask her to put it on the floor for me. And
I'll put it on the floor.
Yes, is Trustee Cole there? Okay, Trustee Clark?
I'm here.
Okay, all right, so Trustee K. McDonald, Trustee Cole. All right, any question, concerns? I'm seeing none. All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. Appreciate that. And we're going to move down to 14.4, which is our Governance and Policy Committee of January 24th. And there is numbers of motion coming out of that one. I'm going to take them one at a time. Or do we want to take all of them one time? What's the will of the board? All one time? One time? Okay. All right. I'm seeing all one time. All right. So listen as I read them. Okay. The first one, that the delegation of Valentina Geography be referred to the Director of Education for the follow-up with the delegation by assigned staff. And number two, that the Child Abuse and Prevention Policy attached Appendix A be the report to be approved, and that the Flex school boundary policy attached as Appendix 1 to be reported to be approved effective April 30th, 2024, and that the procurement policy attached as Appendix 1 to the report be approved. And then the final one, number 5, that I'm just going to read the motion. Be it resolved that the individual Peelschools website lists the appropriate trustee for the municipal ward boundary as primary contact for the school. And further, that the individual Peel District School Board website lists the appropriate trustee for the school enrollment catchment area as the secondary contact for the school to address constituency issues. And further, that the staff create a procedure outlining the list of trustees and school website. And further, that the procedure include the role and the responsibility of primary and secondary trustee, including that if a parent or a member of the public is dissatisfied with the service of the primary trustee, that they may reach out to the secondary trustee for further assistance, which may include involvement of the board chair and the director of education. And further, that the procedure including should be primary trustee receive a call from a parent in the secondary trustee ward, the primary trustee shall advise the secondary trustee of the call and copy the secondary trustee and that corresponding an email and/or email. So those are here, and I'm going to go to Trustee McDonald and Trustee Davy. Question, concern?
I have just one typo in one document, so that's what I am mentioning here. That is in the procurement policy on page 3.
Okay.
In the second last paragraph, that says the revised policy is also aligned with and supports. Paragraph on the top of that, the revised policy is aligned with the and supports the principles. So I think something is missing here. Page 3, second last paragraph.
I think it's just.
Okay. Okay. All right. Noted. Noted. Thank you. Trustee Johal. Trustee Davy.
Just doing some crazy online shopping lately, and I noticed that a lot of the websites asked me to put in my postal code.
Yeah.
And then it took me right to the store or whatever it would be. Is it possible that we could have, contact your trustee, you click on that, you punch in your postal code, and then it sends you to the appropriate trustee? I just think that makes so much more sense.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to turn to my governance officer for clarification on that. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and through you, Mr. Chair. The issue with postal codes is that they also do not align necessarily with ward boundaries. And we notice that when there's mailings that counselors do as well as trustees, if you can't match the postal codes with ward boundaries. So it's the same, it becomes the same issue.
Okay. All right. Any other question, concern? See none. All those in favor? Thank you. Carries. Okay. All right. So we're going to move down to staff report and 15.1 and Directive 21. I'm going to turn over to Director at this time.
Thank you, Chair Green, and through you, I'm going to ask Associate Director Harjeet Aujla to present the report of Directive 21.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Director Swaroop, and through you, Chair Green, I would like to offer some brief context to this report. This report serves as a final report on the board's ongoing work to respond to Ministerial Directive 21 and is presented here as an audit report. The report identifies important and continuing steps towards achieving transformative approaches to student disciplinary procedures and the ongoing capacity building of staff within the PDSB. I will now ask Superintendent Stubbings to please present the audit report.
Thank you, Associate Director Aujla, and through you, Chair Green. I would like to share an audit report that contains information pertaining to Directive 21 student discipline practices. The audit contains the most recent information about the implementation of the Safe and Caring Schools Policy 48. Included in the report is a glossary of acronyms and an appendix that outlines what aspects of the policy have been implemented, the evidence of implementation, and the next actionable steps. There has been significant work since the policy was approved in October 2023. This includes the training of all administrators in Policy 48 and restorative justice, including training newly appointed administrators in Policy 48 and Directive 21. All schools have established a safe and accepting school team and have implemented the bullying prevention and intervention plan. Principals notify and consult their superintendent of education for all student disciplinary processes that may lead to suspension. Superintendents of education provide monthly suspension data to their associate director, and 6 operating procedures have been implemented. As a board, we continue to work proactively to ensure all student disciplinary practices are procedurally fair, that principals partner with parents at all steps of the process, and that we prioritize progressive discipline. This current school year, there's also been significant interdepartmental work that looks at how to improve the instructional and social environment for students with intersectional identities. We understand that students who are firm in their identity and have engaging learning environments that meet their learning needs are ones that students want to be in and have success in. This, in combination with relationships with caring adults, will lead to improvements in achievement and reduce suspensions for students. This audit is in satisfaction of the ministry directives. The work is embedded in our daily practices and will continue to remain a priority of the Safe and Caring Schools Department. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'll put it on the floor. First, Trustee Pernoli, Trustee Bailey is putting on the floor for me. Question, concerns? Trustee Alves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, sir. A couple questions. So I don't want to jump ahead because I know that there are sections to this. So the next section is where we get into Directive 22. But in the verbal portion of what you just described, Superintendent Stubbings, you note progressive discipline and the intended result, being less suspensions. With looking at the data that's to come, and I won't jump ahead, are we seeing the intended impact from progressive discipline? Is there a rationale for why we've seen an increase in suspensions? Do we know why exactly?
So I could answer that under the next directive if you would like.
But
I am happy to say, I'm really proud of the work that the board is doing around progressive discipline. And it's not progressive discipline, it's really progressive supports. And so we have certainly noticed that teachers in classrooms, principals are doing a lot of proactive preventative work with students K to 12. And we absolutely do see the results of that work.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I think I'll save my questions for the following section where we have the data. Thank you.
That'd be a good idea. All right. Okay. See no other question. Trustee Clark, Trustee Benjamin. Sorry, I already have 2 put it on the floor. All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. Are we going to move down to the next item? Director Saru?
Yes, thank you, Chair Green. And through you, I will ask Associate Director Harjeet Aujla to present the suspension Directive 22 report.
Thank you very much, Director Swaroop. And through you, Chair Green, I would like to offer some brief context to this report. As per ministry requirements, there are a total of 4 bi-monthly reports required to the board as per Directive 22. This report serves as the formal second update report on D22, building on the November 22nd, 2023 report. This second report contains PDSB's progress towards eliminating racial disparities in suspensions, expulsions, and exclusions. The ongoing work accomplished through Directive 21 will allow the PDSB to measure impacts on racial disparities in suspensions and expulsion data and monitor progress towards the elimination of racial disparities. I will now ask Superintendent Stubbings to please present the report.
Thank you. Thank you, Associate Director Aujla, and through you, Chair Green. I would like to share a report that contains information pertaining to Directive 22, suspensions and expulsions. The report contains the most recent information about our progress towards eliminating racial disproportionalities in suspensions and expulsions. The data in the report updates disproportionalities as of December 31st, 2023. According to our data, the number of suspensions has increased, yet the number of expulsions is stable. Disparities continue to exist in the Peel District School Board. Disproportionalities for Indigenous students have decreased from 2.3 to 2.2 times more likely to be suspended. While the disproportionality for Black students had decreased in June from 2.2 to 2.0 times more likely to be suspended, it has increased to 2.2 times more likely as of December 31st. We are committed to ongoing work to ensure that we eliminate racial disparities in suspensions and expulsions. This includes engaging meaningfully with community and reviewing our processes and data. We will continue to conduct comprehensive data analysis to reduce and eliminate disparities in student discipline. We will also continue to deepen our work around restorative justice to create environments that promote conversations, respect, and understanding among each other. We remain steadfast in our duty to collect data, address racial disparities, and create learning environments that are identity affirming, positive, inclusive, safe, and caring. Thank you. Be happy to respond to any questions.
Okay, thank you, Director Saru, Associate Director Ajal, and Superintendent Stubbins. I'm going to ask Trustee Alv and Trustee Johal to put it on the floor for me. And I know Trustee Alv has a question. Anybody else has any question? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, sir. So, through you, Chair, for Superintendent Stubbins, in your preamble, you noted expulsions and suspensions being stable. I just want to draw the committee's attention to chart number 1, number of suspensions and expulsions, and I'm assuming that these are whole numbers aggregated for the entire board. In 2022 to 2023, we have number of suspensions being 2044, which is far higher than 2021 to 2022 at 1027. Not far behind 2019 to 2020. But when we look at the number of expulsions being 31, we more than double what it was in 2021 to 2022, and we certainly are far higher than 2019 to 2020 and 2018 to 2019. So just confused on a little bit of the language there. And if we could have a bit of an explanation for some of the folks online who are unfamiliar with what an exclusion is. This year's number, or 2022 to 2023's number, was 50, which is far higher than any that we've had since 2018.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the question. Through you, Chair. I don't have the specifics of expulsion data prior to my arrival in the department. I can tell you, I can speak to the data from last year and this year from when I was in the department.
So, Trustee Alves, with that said, could we then ask Superintendent Stubbins to take that back and maybe come back to us with that, maybe via our email, or do you,
For you, Chair, I'm just asking questions about the report in front of us. So are we saying that the NR, so in the report, it dictates that to protect privacy, data fewer than 10 will be labeled NR. Are those labeled NR because the school board just doesn't have the data, or are they NR because they're less than 10?
Thank you for the question, Trustee Elves. And through you, Chair Green, we do have the data. We do have the numbers. We are using NR to protect the identity of students according to the Municipal Protection of Information Act.
Perfect. So then my question, I guess, stands, Chair. Just looking at the report in front of us, it says here that for expulsions in 2018 to 2019, 19 to 20, and the following year, 20 to 21, so it labels those three as NR. In the year labeled COVID 2021 to 2022, it lists in this document 14. And in the year past, 2022 to 2023, it more than doubles to 31. And you had noted in the preamble that it was stable, but we've more than doubled what we had in 2021. So I was just confused by that. And I was hoping you could maybe elaborate a little bit on the number of suspensions and why we've nearly doubled from last year.
Thank you, Chair. And through you, Chair Green, thank you for the question. You know, I think it's important to appreciate that the decision to expel a student is really a difficult one. The Peel District School Board, we do have improved practices. We have improved reporting mechanisms and more effective processes engaged by school leaders, which is in alignment with the Ed Act. Negative student behavior that results in expulsions has increased in Peel District School Board and province-wide. I'll say that we have taken a clear stance against negative behavior in schools. And when incidents happen, principals do conduct a thorough, unbiased investigation in line with the Ed Act and our policies and procedures. And these investigations are not done in isolation. Principals are required to notify and consult their superintendent and the Safe and Caring School team, and student safety is prioritized. I will say that when we compare expulsions, Trustee Elves, from September to December last year and this year, those numbers are stable.
Through you, Chair. Thank you, Superintendent Stubbings. I would just say, you know, while those couple months might be stable, I think it's important that we look at this holistically, and we have a significant jump. It's more than doubled. So to Chair Green's earlier point, perhaps a response back after this committee would be best, if that's okay with you, Chair. I'd like to know specifically how the progressive discipline policy, what changes have we seen specifically that are alluding to it being successful, and how we can further bolster it if in fact it is, because I'm seeing the number of suspensions double, and I'm looking here at the number of expulsions having doubled, and I'm also looking at the number, and I realize that this is not part of discipline for folks that are listening online. I'm also noticing a significant number of students excluded, much higher than any of the years reported here, 2022 to 2023 being the highest at 50, is concerning. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Alv. Trustee K. McDonald line.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I'm just wondering, because I think I got lost into the reports that we're at, because are we at 15.1B? Directive
Yes.
22?
Yes, Directive 22.
Okay, because I have questions with regards to 15.2, and I don't see where, like Trustee Alves is quoting some numbers like with the NR, but that's not in this report. Am I correct? Or is that, because I don't know where the NR is in for 15.1.
Yeah. 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 So, Trustee McDonald, 15.2 is page 4. Yeah. Yeah.
So am I to be commenting on 15.2 now, or are we going to have a report at 15.2?
We are no, we are dealing with 15.1B, which is Directive 22. We're going to go down to 15.2 after Directive 22.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Cole, you got your hands up?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask a quick question here. So I know we had COVID-19 in 2018, 2019, 2020. I know, for a couple of years, half the students stayed at home and did their schooling from online. So I guess my question then is this a typical year for these kinds of incidences in 2023, or are we looking at an increase because half the kids weren't even in school the last couple of years?
So, Trustee Cole, that's something that's a hypothetical question. The superintendent wouldn't have that to able to share with you. She would have to go back again and talk to the school because she's not in the school to able to give you that answer. So I'm going to suggest that you connect with Superintendent Stubbins, have a conversation, and hopefully she can maybe give you some clarification around that. That's okay?
Sure. I'm just seeing a huge increase, and I'm wondering why we haven't done that comparison, but I can definitely chat with her. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Trustee Bailey. Oh, sorry.
Is that okay? Okay.
Okay, Trustee Pamanelli.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Trustee Bailey. Thank you for this report. I'm looking at chart number 2 on page 109 of our document, but page 4 of the report. And so I'm just looking at what we've been seeing in terms of the racial disproportionalities from 2018-19 to 2022-2023. And I'm wondering if this is sort of the rate of progress that we're hoping to see in terms of addressing the disproportionalities, or if there's, what the metric is that we're looking for as we continue to do this important work.
Superintendent.
Thank you. And through you, Chair Green, thank you for the question. Chart number 2 does contain the information from the last equity accountability report card. I think that we want to see an ongoing positive trend in terms of the reduction and elimination of racial disparities in suspensions. Absolutely, that's the goal of Directive 21 and of Directive 22, and we continue to work to achieve that goal.
Okay, thank you, Superintendent. I did notice that there are some positive trends. It just doesn't seem to be moving probably as quickly as we'd always, hope to see. But thank you, and I appreciate the work. Thank you.
Trustee Bailey.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. And I don't know if you have this answer to any of this, Superintendent Stubbins, because let's face it, none of us are miracle workers. But one of the questions that I keep getting asked about when I'm talking to families that have had issues in schools is how the differences in how their children are continued to be treated, and the conversations that are had with students that I can speak directly about Black students within the Peel District School Board, the experiences that they have and continue to have. Now, it's gotten better, but it's still that attitude of, well, it's probably a home issue, right? And they're looking at a lot of it, it's an issue with the child, instead of looking at things like, what are their precipitating behaviors? What caused this action? So that's one of my concerns, is how are we changing the attitudes of the educators and the administrators? Because that has a big impact on all of this.
And the superintendent will take that back because that would be part of training. So she'll take that back and have a discussion with her team, so that makes sure that trickle down to the schools. Put her on the spot for that. She doesn't have that. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. It's a comment. It's not really a question. It's a comment. So that's the reason why I said, let her take it back. And I would also suggest that, if we want to know in deep what training has been given to the staff, maybe reach out to Superintendent Stubbin, get a little bit more information around what has been, and maybe that's something that has suggested that can incorporate it in training that staff are getting, because I know training have been done at the moment in schools around this piece. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a comment, it's not a question. Yeah. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. All right. See no other question?
Excuse me, Chair. Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, Trustee. Oh, sorry. Trustee McDonald, just give me a minute. Trustee, you good? You good? All right. Okay. Go ahead, Trustee McDonald.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Just a follow-up for Trustee Bailey's. I thought I heard a question in there. So you said that she's going to take it back, because I thought the question was about the training. So when you say she should take it back, the superintendent to take it back, is it going to come before the board? Because I think it would be great for the public to know about the training that the staff has been receiving.
Okay. All right, so if it's the will of the board, I can ask Superintendent Stubbin. Actually, I'll ask the director, not superintendent, I'll ask the director. That's a report that can come back to this board because definitely I think there's a lot of people would be interested in know what is being done in terms of the training. So director, can we ask for that through the will of the board? All right, okay, all right. So yes, the will of the board.
Yes, thank you,
Yes,
Chair
please.
Green. We will certainly provide that information through a report.
And thank you. And in the context, I'm not sure, but I'd like it in the context of the report, seeing that the disproportionality index is still quite high. So we just in terms of in light of the report, because I think it would answer a lot of the questions that I heard raised by both Trustee Alves and Trustee Bailey. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Trustee McDonald. All those in favor? Carries. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna move down to 15.2. And again, I'm turning over to Director Saru.
Thank you, and through you, Chair Green. Once again, I'm going to ask Associate Director Harjeet Aujla to bring the semi-annual update report on suspension, expulsion, and safe school data.
Thank you very much, Director Swaroop, and through you, Chair Green. I would like to offer some brief context to this report. This report is a semi-annual report that will be brought before the board each year in January and again in June to look specifically at suspension, expulsion, and safe schools data. The report will offer important information around this current school year to the same time frame as last school year. I will now ask Superintendent Stubbings to please present the report.
Thank you, Associate Director Aujla, and through you, Chair Green. I would like to share a report that contains information regarding student suspensions, expulsions, and safe schools data. The report contains data about 3 key pieces of information. It's important to note that the data for this current year is from September to December 2023. The data is compared to September to December 2022. The number of suspensions has increased, and the Peel District School Board has taken a clear and definite stance on negative behavior, including incidents of violence, hate, sexual violence, and the use or possession of weapons. Expulsions and suspensions are appropriate consequences for particular behaviors. However, student learning, reflection, and commitment to change are also important components of helping students return to a successful placement and pathway. Because the number of suspensions has increased, it's reasonable that employee workplace violence incidents and safe schools incident reports have also increased. The Employee Workplace Violence Report is required under the Occupational Health and Safety Act and includes 3 types of reporting criteria: the exercise of physical force, the attempt to exercise physical force, and a threat to exercise physical force. It's important to note that mitigating factors such as the student's special education needs are not taken into consideration. A report must be completed. The Safe Schools Incident Report should be completed fairly and without bias, prejudice, or favoritism towards or against any student based on protected grounds under the Ontario Human Rights Code or for any other reason. When a staff member observes a behavior for which suspension may be considered, they are required to submit a report. Once the report is received by the principal, he or she begins an investigation and will determine an appropriate outcome. It is important to note that the data is aggregate, and due to privacy and the possibility of being able to discern a particular incident, the data should be discussed on a system basis and not on an individual student or individual school basis. The Peel District School Board will continue to promote safety and well-being for all. This report reaffirms our resolve to prioritize restorative justice, progressive discipline, and inclusive and equitable learning environments. The next report will be available in June. And thank you. I'm happy to answer to any questions you may have.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Trustee Johal and Trustee B. McDonald, putting it on the floor for me. And I'm gonna go to Trustee K. McDonald online first. And then I'll go to trustee Promanelli.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So I have, and forgive me if some of the regards to the table on page 3 is a bit repetitive, because when the discussion was taking place at Trustee Alves, I was looking through the other report. I thought I missed something in that report. So I wasn't laser focused on his line of questioning, but I do have just a question regarding the secondary school expulsions, because based on the chart, so both results are listed as NR. And according to the legend, it says to protect privacy, data with 10 or fewer students/staff are not represented. So am I to infer from this that there were less than 10 students that were expelled in December 22 and less than 10 students expelled in December 2023?
Superintendent?
Through you, Chair. Yes, that's correct, Trustee McDonald.
Okay, thank you. Now, when I look at reading this suspension, expulsion, and safe schools data, I know that I, as a trustee, have been feeling a lot of increased calls from the community concerned about gang violence in the Peel school. Based on the data in this report, is this a reality or is this just a perception of the community?
Superintendent?
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Thank you for the question, Trustee McDonald. That's a difficult question to answer. Gang violence is not listed as as an activity for which suspension or expulsion could be considered. So, again, difficult for us to determine as well, gang violence versus negative peer groups. I will say, though, that, we do take suspensions seriously. And if it is an activity if a student does something for which a suspension may or shall be considered, then we proceed with that investigation.
Okay,
you have a follow-up, Trustee?
Yes, I do. I have quite a few questions, about 3 or 4. So, because of the number of video fights that have come across to my knowledge, online with social media, are those videos reflecting what's happening in the schools on a daily basis, or is it in the community these activities are happening?
Thank you, Chair. Again, Trustee McDonald, another difficult question to answer. When we do receive evidence of a fight through video, whether it's on our CCTV cameras or through social media, principals absolutely will investigate every incident that they see. I'm not sure, which ones particularly that you're referring to, but for sure, all fights, social media is problematic. And all evidence of fights are investigated by the school.
Okay, thank you for that. And are you able to say how the videos are impacting student safety in our schools and the student sense of belonging?
Thank you, Chair, through you, Chair Green, and thank you, Trustee McDonald. I mean, I think any negative behavior could be impactful and harmful to students. Really difficult for me to say with any certainty the degree to which a video of a fight negatively impacts the school environment. I will say that any behavior that does have a negative impact on school climate is looked into by the principal.
Thank you, because I know I've been getting a lot of calls lately with the use of video. And as one mom had said, it's used to intimidate the students. It's also used as a form of recruitment because they show the kids, oh, we protect you. And I think that there's a genuine concern, a heightened sense of concern with parents. So I'm not sure if it requires a motion or if there's any way we can get a report regarding like if there is any gang affiliations or situations in our school, because I know within the community, that's a huge concern. And my final question, sorry, you could answer that. Do I need a motion to get a report?
Trustee McDonald, can I suggest around that, maybe let's have a conversation and then we'll come back with that one because that one is kind of a little bit problematic because as I know, we could be getting into areas that is not within our purview. So let's have a conversation, and if it's require a motion, then we can come back. Let's have a conversation, myself, you, and governance officer, and trustees, Superintendent Stubbin. We can have a conversation around that one.
Thank you. My final question is about staff safety. How are we ensuring that our staff are feeling supported when threatened, or if they feel intimidated, or if staff is feeling like there's a gang problem?
Thank you for the question, Trustee McDonald, and through you, Chair. I think staff do an incredible job every day in schools, not only in the classrooms teaching, but also supervising and ensuring that our hallways are safe, that our playgrounds are safe, that students are safe, coming and going to school and during lunch. So certainly I commend them for that. If a staff member does feel threatened, then that staff member should, when safe to do so, file a Safe Schools incident report and report that to the principal as soon as possible. There are many pieces that a principal can put in place to ensure that staff do feel safe, that they're comfortable in their workplace environment, but that would be, situational or staff specific.
Okay, thank you. And I guess in our discussion too, if when we meet, we could talk about staff safety, because that has also been flagged to me.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Promenade.
Thank you, Chair. Just looking at page 116 in our document and page 4 of this report, I'm looking at the chart here, and I have to tell you that I was, I hesitate to use the word alarmed, but I am alarmed by the rise in reported incidents from year over year in the same time period. I found these numbers actually quite shocking and very concerning. So I was wondering if we have a sense of what has happened here, what has gone on year over year to see this significant increase in incidents, and if we do have a sense, or if we don't have a sense, what we're doing to try to address what's going on, because this is not a good trend.
Go ahead, Superintendent Stevens.
Thank you for the question, Trustee Promoli, and through you, Chair. I think it's really important to remember that the data presented in this report is not contextualized. So we really do need to be mindful in how we interpret what is in the report. One incident, for example, could generate multiple reports. We could have one teacher entering numerous reports for one incident. When we think about the employee violence, we have to remember that the threshold is extremely low. And so, if a child throws an eraser at a teacher, then technically you should be entering a report. Now, there are all kinds of things that happen, but that's one example. When we look at the Safe Schools incident reports, again, one incident could generate multiple reports. So we could have a few teachers witness one incident for which a suspension may be considered, and that could generate multiple reports. I will say that our safety partners do monitor the reports and connect with schools on a monthly basis as well to ensure that we have a really good understanding of what the numbers are actually telling us.
Okay, through you, Chair, if you don't mind, just to clarify, so do we have a sense that there's a shift in the way these incidents are being reported from one year to the next? Is there an indication of that? Because if the idea is that we may see more incidents that are being reported in a different way this year, and that would contribute to a higher total, is that different than what was happening the year before? Or is there a trend, an upward trend in this?
Thank you, Trustee Promoli, and through you, Chair Green. I'm not sure actually of the answer to that. I will say that there is yearly training, so staff should understand what constitutes a viable SSIR and an employee workplace violent incident report. And, you know, of course, our principals as leaders of the schools understand the difference between those two and can also support staff to enter reports appropriately. I'll say that the SSIRs are absolutely aligned with the codes for suspension. And so when a staff member enters a Safe Schools incident report, for example, they actually have to pick the incident for which they think a suspension may be issued. The challenge there, of course, is that staff aren't trained in how to characterize behavior in terms of suspensions and expulsions.
Okay, thank you. So just to confirm, then we should assume that these reports have been appropriately filled out then, and these are reflective of the true nature of the situation year over year.
Thank you, Chair. Again, I would just to say that the data in this is not contextualized, and we really do need to be mindful of how we interpret it. I'm not sure that we would take this exactly as face value.
Yeah, Trustee Alves.
Thank you, Chairman. Through you, sir. Unreservedly, I am deeply and profoundly concerned with the information before us. To hear that this information isn't conceptualized, I've been asking on the record for the total number of 310 forms which are filled out when there is an incident that requires medical attention for over a year. Over a year I've asked for this information, which would help to contextualize the information before us so we could understand how many times to be clear, September to December of 22 to the September of December of 23, there was an increase of 1,013 incidents of total violence. That would help us conceptualize the difference between a hospital stay, a visit to the ICU, a surgery, and an eraser being thrown at someone. Through you, Chair, I ask again.
So,
when do we have that?
Trustee Alves, before you ask your question, I'm going to ask you to tone down your voice and speak to staff appropriately. Thank
Through
you.
you, Chair. The information before me is quite shocking. My tone is stern.
I understand, but I'm asking you
and
to speak to staff and ask staff a report. Let us be mindful of how we speak to staff, please, and thank you. You can go ahead and ask your question, but let us be mindful and respect one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Respectfully, I am speaking in a respectful tone, and I've used the appropriate language, please. I've thanked staff for the report. So I'm again asking for staff, through you, Chair, or for our director perhaps, could please bring us the number of 310s that were filed year over year for the same years that are described in this report to help trustees better contextualize the total number of violent incidents that have happened at our board.
Okay, Superintendent Stubbins.
Hi, thank you for that, Trustee Alves, and I think I can help. And so through you, Chair Green.
Yep.
So I'm just going to back up a little bit. So under the Education Act, there are two classifications of suspensions. So Section 306 states that a principal shall consider whether to suspend a student if they believe that the student has engaged in an activity while at school, at a school-related activity, or in other circumstances where engaging in the activity would have a negative impact on the school climate. So some of these activities could include possessing alcohol, uttering a threat to inflict bodily harm, swearing at a person, bullying. For Section 310, it states that a principal shall suspend and conduct an investigation to determine whether a recommendation for expulsion for the student, if they believe, again, that the student has engaged in an activity while at school or at a school-related activity. And some of those include activities include, for example, possessing a weapon, using a weapon to cause or threaten bodily harm, committing sexual assault, trafficking in weapons and drugs, etc. So there is no 310 form. I'm not sure what you're mentioning by that, but I will say that all suspensions are taken seriously by the board, whether it's a 306 or a 310, which are classifications of behavior. When a student is suspended, it means that their behavior has contravened the Code of Conduct and the Education Act. So we don't keep data on the exact number of suspensions under each. What we do, though, is keep data on the number of incidents under each category. So it could mean, for example, that there's one category under 306 involving multiple students. And so between September and December this past fall, 28% of the incidents fell under the 310 category. So there would be 198 incidents, and 72% of the incidents fell under the 306 category, and that would be 485 incidents.
Through you, Mr. Chair, thank you very much, Superintendent Stubbings. That does help, but my question was regarding the incidents of violence, not suspensions. I was asking about the 1,000, I don't have the calculator in front of me now, I believe it's 1,013 incidents of total violence, the increase. So perhaps to even break this down even further, I would imagine we would have this, but I won't assume, so I'll ask. Does the school board keep track of how many incidents that require medical attention happen per year? Would we keep that data for our records?
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I don't keep that information. That information would be contained in the Principal's Analysis of Investigation Report, which is a principal's investigation. It's their documentation. If you're referring to the employee violence incident reports, that information isn't contained in my department. That would be with Health and Safety.
Through you, Chair. I almost want to put a motion on the floor to recommend this go to Student Safety, Curriculum and Wellness. I'm not getting the committee title appropriately, to give us more time to kind of go through this with a fine-tooth comb, because I do think that the numbers are shocking. The numbers are quite alarming, and I would like to better understand how many of these incidents of violence have resulted in our students requiring medical attention, so that we can better understand how our progressive discipline is working, where there might be gaps that we need to bolster, because I can tell you that the phone calls that I am receiving from parents, families, and constituents regarding incidents of violence is concerning. I'm deeply concerned, and I won't speak for my colleagues, but I imagine others are as well. So through you, Chair, would we be able to ask this report to go to that committee? So what you're speaking to, Trustee Alves, is not about students, about staff. What you're speaking to, those numbers you're speaking to? I believe they're total incidents of violence that are students. My laptop has decided to reset for one of the protocols at a horrible time, but I'm referring to student numbers, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I'm going to turn to Director Saru.
Thank you, Chair Green, and thank you for the question, Trustee Alves. I'm seeking clarity because page 4 is the employee workplace violence report, so that the numbers there seem to be the numbers you're referring for, as per our understanding, which is staff.
I stand corrected. You're absolutely right. But if we just look up one chart above, we'll see suspensions and expulsions. And those suspensions, as per Superintendent Stubbings' response, have happened for a variety of reasons, some of which include physical violence causing bodily harm. And I think that that's deeply concerning. I would love the opportunity to further discuss this report amongst my colleagues at that committee, if that's okay with you, Chair. What do you, a motion to, so there's a report, coming back in June to this, on this. It's a semi-annual report. It's coming back in June. So what we can do is your question that you're asking, we just ask staff to just go a little bit deeper in the report that is coming back. I think that would be great, Chairman. I'm just wondering if this one could go to the, I'm not getting the name of the committee correct. That's exactly it. If it can go there, where we might be able to identify what additional information we'd like specifically, so that staff don't have to guess. We'll be able to tell them exactly what we're looking for to help us conceptualize and understand what's going on with violence in our schools. Trustee Alves, just to clarify for you, this doesn't go to curriculum. This is not curriculum. This is under Safe School. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But as I said, this doesn't go there.
Okay, it comes to the board. It's a report that comes to the board.
Sorry, perhaps I'm misunderstanding. I understand that we're going to receive this report. Is there not an opportunity for us to discuss this at that committee?
No.
Is there a committee that would discuss the safety and well-being of students?
Well, the thing is that happened, you can, okay, don't direct no, you don't, Trustee Alves. You ask the question to me and I will turn to her and ask her the question. Don't do that. Okay? Yeah. Right, yeah. Right, okay, good. Right, good. Okay, so I seek some clarification. Hold on, Trustee Bailey. I see some clarification around what you're asking, Trustee Alves. And what can be done is that you could, if you have a seconder, you could put a motion on the floor to refer it there. And if the rest of your colleagues agree with you, then that can take place.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would very much like to do that. I would certainly hope we have a seconder to discuss this very important topic.
Okay, so there is a motion on the floor from Trustee Alves, seconded by Trustee Clark. I'm going to ask trustees, those in favor of the motion directing this to go to curriculum and student well-being. Those in favor of that, raise your hand.
I am.
Okay,
Online.
count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Huh? You can discuss it. Yeah. Okay.
I'll call point of order. We called the vote, so governance officer, could you please advise?
No, it's a motion. Because it's a motion, it can be discussed. Yes, it's a motion. Yes, it's a motion. And Trustee Davey wants to have a discussion about the motion.
It's not that I'm for or against this motion. I'm more against the process that we're going through here, folks. Can we not be more civil to each other? Questions like this, can you not prepare them beforehand, send them to the staff so they're a little bit prepared, please? We're making ourselves look silly here. Let's be professional. Thank you.
Okay. Any Trustee Alves?
Thank you, Mr.
Trustee
Chair.
Alves? I will come to you, sir. You put the motion on the table, okay? I'm running the meeting, not you. Please. Okay. Any other trustee who has any comments on this motion? The motion that is on the floor is to refer this to curriculum and student well-being. Any other trustee has any comments? See none, because it's your.
A hand is raised. I have a question.
Oh, sorry, Trustee McDonald, I didn't see. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question with regards to the process, because
yes.
I thought when Trustee Alves for the motion, doesn't he get a chance to first speak to it and then the other trustees speak? So then I think Trustee Davis spoke, but I thought Trustee Alves should speak to his motion and then the other trustees speak.
He did, Trustee McDonald, so he will close. I will go back to him for final comments.
Oh, so when he put the motion on the floor, he spoke to it?
He spoke. Yes, he did speak. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will go back to him once I'm finished here to conclude. Okay, I see no other, so I'm coming back to you now, Trustee Alves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, sir. I just to Trustee Davis's comments, I wholeheartedly agree. And if tone was stern, it was not meant out of disrespect. This is a concern for me and many of my constituents. And so, Mr. Davies, apologies in advance. But when I do send questions in, I do my best to take that consideration in for staff at all times when possible. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to this time, but I did prepare these questions thoughtfully and spent many hours reviewing what was a very well-prepared report. And I am very much excited to the opportunity to discuss it further. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Alves. Okay, so the motion on the floor is that We refer this report to curriculum and student well-being. Those in favor of the motion, raise your hand, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and online 9. Okay. All right. So that motion carries. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we'll send it over so that they can take a deeper dive in it. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. We are going to move down to, even lost my page. Okay. All right. 15.3. And I'm going to turn this over to our governance officer, Catherine Locklear.
Thank you very much, and through you, Mr. Chair. A procedure bylaw provides a foundation and structure for effective meeting management and decision-making. After a close review of the current bylaw and having applied it over the past year and a half, together with an environmental scan of some other procedure bylaws and best practices, there was some demonstrated need for and a recommendation for a few amendments, clarifications, and additions regarding the application and scope of the bylaw. The procedure bylaw should be reviewed regularly to ensure that it meets the needs of the board and committees, as well as providing the necessary guidance for effective and efficient meeting management. Appendix 1 to the report is the current version of the bylaw showing the proposed changes, and Appendix 2 is a clean version of the procedure bylaw with the changes adopted. Some of the key recommended amendments include provisions relating to conduct at meetings, such as prohibiting signs, flags, and banners in the boardroom, no members of the public on the boardroom floor during meetings, and that the Director of Education may establish further and other rules relating to attendance at meetings and the safety and security of trustees, students, staff, public, and facilities. Another amendment is the provision with regard to designating members of the board to the Discipline Committee, as was approved by the board at the February 22nd, 2023 meeting for the purpose of quorum requirements. And also provisions regarding replacing the current committee governance directives with committee terms of reference. A new committee terms of reference template has been developed and reviewed by staff executive leads for each committee and is an appendix to the bylaw. Each committee will be reviewing and approving the terms of reference for the respective committees. There were also some amendments that were done to provide further clarity around rules of meeting governance, provide certainty for trustees, staff, delegates, and the community. A strong procedure bylaw provides a strong foundation for good governance. The proposed amendments were presented to the Governance and Policy Committee at the November 8th, 2023 meeting. Notice to the public regarding the proposed amendments was provided at the November 29th, 2023 Board of Trustees meeting. A trustee learning session was held on January 16th, 2024 to review the procedure bylaw. There was opportunity for the public to comment and for the trustees to provide comment. There was no input provided by the public throughout the process. If approved, we will update the Peel District School Board website with the amended bylaw. Thank you for your time and attention, and happy to address any questions.
Okay, I'm going to ask Trustee Brad McDonald and Trustee David to put it on the floor for me. Okay, question, concern? A lot of us was at that training, so Trustee McDonald, is that a legacy, Ann? K. McDonald?
Sorry, yes, it is. Sorry, I took it down.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm seeing no question. All those in favor? 1, 2, okay. And those online? Okay, hands are up. Okay, approve. Thank you. Much appreciated. Okay. All right, so we're going to move down to item 16, and I have no communication. Number 17, trustee motion, there's none for consideration. And trustee notice of motion, there's none. And I'm going to ask Trustee Johal and Trustee Hobbs to move the in-camera report. All those in favor? Carry. We don't have any student. Okay, all right, okay. All right, so we are gonna turn to our video today?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good.
The dream came true today for some keen science students.
Yes, they tried their hand at operating the lunar rover. CTV's Beth McDonnell joins us now with more on this. This seems pretty cool, quite the lesson.
Very cool, Michelle. This is a big day for this grade 6 class at Lisgar Middle School in Mississauga. They won a national space competition, and today they had to complete a very special mission. 2, 1, and we are live. They are the youngest students who won the national space competition. Lisgar Middle School in Mississauga is among 4 schools from across the country selected to take part in the Lunar Rover Research Challenge.
It's hard, but it's very exciting and stressful at the same time, so we really enjoy it.
The goal of the simulation, find water on the moon, just like real scientists would. The difference, the rover is in Stratford, Ontario. Mission control, their classroom.
I feel like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm a part of a space mission. You know, and I'm like, let's say this rover actually goes to space and then I'm on TV. Like, that's gonna be amazing for me.
Each pod of students has a specialty, each critical to the mission. Some plan the route, others constantly checking the rover is working properly or downloading and gathering information. All real work experience.
Hard work pays off. So all the time we spent making the application to do this, now we're reaping the benefits. This is an amazing experience.
The competition is run through charity Let's Talk Science. Over 16,000 youth took part. Many of these students already had an interest in space prior to winning. They are part of the school board's International Business and Technology program.
It feels really good. When I was really little, I wanted to do stuff like this, and it's like a dream come true.
Setting the stage for even bigger things to come.
On January 15th, Peel District School Board was honored to host over 300 staff, students, and community members as we marked 1 year since the introduction of the Affirming Muslim Student Identities and Dismantling Islamophobia strategy. The community celebration was an opportunity to thank everyone for dedicating their time and shared experiences in developing the strategy, and to showcase and reflect on the initiatives, resources, supports, and activities that have been developed and implemented in alignment with the strategy. We were thrilled to have Amira El-Gawabi, Canada's first special representative on combating Islamophobia, join us as we spoke about progress and emphasized our ongoing commitment to this critical work. In October, more than 60 educators and educational leaders from Wales and the Netherlands visited 7 secondary schools and 5 middle schools in PDSB that focus on vocational and academic studies. The delegation witnessed innovative educational programs, including how we're preparing students with the digital skills necessary for the world of higher education and future careers. They also explored different methods to engage diverse learners, observing ways to improve their own classroom practices. Feedback from the delegates has been very positive, and after such a successful visit, we look forward to welcoming more delegations in the future. This month, Peel District School Board proudly hosted educators from the Daegu Metropolitan Office of Education in South Korea. This group was interested in gaining a better understanding of the Ontario curriculum, as well as learning more about teaching practices in inquiry-based classrooms and different ways to support students with various learning needs. The delegation visited McCrimmon Middle School, where they saw students engage in problem solving, critical thinking, and experiential learning, and heard about the conditions needed to support educators in employing inquiry-based teaching strategies. It was a privilege to showcase the innovation and excellence happening at McCrimmon. Dorset Drive public school teacher Violeta Juric received the Band-Aid Healing Champion Award in November for her strong leadership promoting inclusion and fostering a supportive environment in school. To ensure all students see themselves affirmed and represented in her classroom, Ms. Juric reached out to Band-Aid just before the start of the 2022-2023 school year, securing a large donation of Our Tone Band-Aids for her split grade 1-2 classroom. Her single tweet speaking to her experience sparked a movement. More than 100 educators in elementary and secondary schools from across North America were inspired to reach out to Band-Aid and help their students be seen. Shurya, a grade 11 student at Woodlands Secondary School, and his friend Dave, a former student of Peel who's also in grade 11, made history at the World Robot Olympiads Championship in Panama when they became the first Canadian team to step up onto the podium. Having spent 10 months tweaking, tinkering, and laboring over their robot in preparation for the competition, they won second place in the Future Innovators senior category with their project on combating biofouling on cargo ships. The idea is beyond impressive. The robot would scale the sides of cargo ships, removing biomaterial, which would, in turn, help reduce the spread of invasive species and improve fuel efficiency on the ship. But the competition isn't all about the idea alone. The team also had to confidently pitch their solution to judges. When interviewed about their win, Shurya said, "The most rewarding part of the competition was learning how to build more complicated and industrial robots aside from Lego, which could actually be used to benefit the world." The Power Duo now have their sights set on the NASA Conrad Challenge, which they have been shortlisted for, and that will be taking place in Houston this April.
Thank you for that, Director Saru. And I just want to say to my colleague, as a board, we should be proud of some amazing stuff that has taken place. One of the highlight that I like, this rover that you see Liz Guard's student they were working with there. This is actually in 10 years, it's going to go to the moon. So these kids will able to say, I was a part of that. Isn't that amazing? It is awesome. So, and as you can see, and these are stuff we got to spotlight and highlight. Let's forget about the negative piece and just showcase the success that has taken place in our school. Thank you, thank you. And to the staff that support these kids in the school day after day, we thank you. Thank you to our senior administration and to our superintendent, everyone that continue to be the driving force behind the success of our student. And again, to amazing student trustees, thank you for your dedication and your time and your commitment. Thank you all. This time, I'm going to ask Trustee Benjamin and Trustee Clark to move adjournment.
Critical.
All those in favor? Is that? Okay, all those in favor. Thank you. Have a great night.